Hi everybody, this is Igbal and I'm so excited to be joining you here for this workshop today. It's time for us to be for real, right? So this is going to be presented as a story. I hope you're all ready. I hope you're all prepared. Like we said in the workshop description, right? If you're someone who is super duper busy all the time, you've got a ton of things for class, you have got a ton of things, in your social life, activities that you're really engaged in, things that you're, trying to get into. And then you might also have some other personal things as well. Maybe you're working, maybe you've got some other obligations outside of school. This is the time, right? This is the workshop for us to be talking about, we be for real, right? Like we have to be realistic about what's going on with our time. A thing that I like to start all of my presentations with is this concept of TABA, together and by association, right? So this is a learning opportunity for all of us, and this is something that is a pretty big deal here at LaSalle. It's very important for all of us to sort of maintain that thought of we're working and we're learning through we're going through all of these things together, and that's really important. Keeping in mind that, I may not be an expert in this field, or I may not be an expert in this topic, but I am someone who, might have a little bit more experience trying to figure out, like being realistic, being, like honest with yourself, right? And keep in mind that you also are the expert of your experience, right? So think about, like, as we're going through this workshop, think about, what are some of the things that I could be taking away from this? What are some of the experiences that maybe this person is having throughout this workshop, throughout the story, that I can really relate to, and maybe take some pointers, take some thoughts for yourself on how you might want to proceed in the future. Just a quick introduction. My name is Igbal. I am a student success coach, and I am so excited to be here with you all. I spent a decent amount of time on this presentation, and I made myself a little person. I'm very excited. I love Canva now. I'm a convert. So this is Danny. Danny is a sophomore here at LaSalle. They're a biochemistry major, and they are involved in so many things. This person is so entirely busy. I don't know how they're managing their time. They've got Chimean Society, which is super exciting. They're in biochem. They're trying to, make sure that their major and the things that they're interested in their clubs match. They're doing neighborhood tutoring. They're a writing tutor over here at the Center for Academic Achievement, on the 4th floor of Lawrence. Come visit us and come to CAA. They're in the mask. They're, involved with Special Olympics. They're trying to start a new organization on campus, which is wild. So exciting, and so much like stuff that has to go into it. They're also in weightlifting club, and they are just hanging out with everyone on campus. Everybody knows them. They walk into the union and immediately everybody knows, like, that's Danny. I'm going to go say hi. We're going to go talk. We're got to make plans, whatever, right? Danny's in everything, and they are doing great. They're doing wonderful, right? They love this for themselves. However, so Danny hasn't been paying a lot of attention in class, right? Like we can see here, they're looking a little confused, and their grades have been kind of slipping a little bit, right? Like keeping in mind again, like, they've got a lot of work to do. They've got a lot of stuff going on. And their professors are starting to take notice. Their professors are definitely starting to take notice, and they're like, Danny's not what they, they're not on their usual kind of, they're not on their usual tip. They're not, doing the things that they used to be doing, and this is a little weird. Their friends are also starting to notice, right? Like Danny hasn't been around as often. They haven't been coming to organization meetings all that often. Classmates are also starting to wonder, like, hey, what's going on, right? Writing tutoring, also kind of concerned, right? Like, hey, one of our writing tutors isn't here as often. They're not, they haven't updated their starfish availability yet, right? So this has kind of been a pattern, and they're not really swe like folks in their circle are not really sure how, what's going on, or how do we support Danny? Like what's happening? Like we don't even know where they are anymore. So like what can we do to support them? Danny has been feeling, a certain type of way, right? They've been kind of all over the place. They've got a lot of things going on. We saw all the places, all the things that they were involved with, and this has been taking a bit of a toll on them, right? So I want to take a pause here, and I want us to think about, what are some of the things right now that, that like you all might be involved in. Think about some of the things that, the activities that you might be in, right? Think about what you might be doing socially, right? Like what you might be doing academically actually as well, right? Like, what your classes and like what's going on with your course load and all of that. Also think about, what might be happening with, just things outside of school, right? Like, you might be in a lot of clubs and organizations on campus. You might be taking a lot of classes and doing a whole bunch of things here. But, are you working on or off campus? Are you, supporting at home in a different way? These are all things that can sort of lead to a lot of feelings of, feeling overwhelmed, feeling like you've got a lot of things on your plate, because you do, right? Like obviously you have a ton of stuff going on. You've got a lot on your plate. And that's really important to think about, right? Like it's important to consider that, how are all of these things affecting you? Are you feeling like you've got a lot of things going on, you have to keep it all up? Do you feel like, if you let one thing go, everything goes, and then, everything's all falling apart? How are you feeling about, like all the things that you're currently doing? And, are you making progress in each of the things, in your life? Are you making progress academically or not? Are you making progress in your organizations or not, right? Like with maybe events that are things that you've got planned out. So think about that for a moment. Now, Danny doesn't know how things got this way, right? They're not going to classes. They're not attending any of their organization meetings. They're constantly feeling overwhelmed and they're feeling really confused, right? They know that they need to make a change soon. This is, a place that we've all been, right? Like we know that things need to happen and we know that things need to change. And it's important to think about, who in our circle, again, can support us with these things. And so, again, being that self-aware also is really important. So consider, at this point in time, Danny's like feeling a lot of things and they know that they need to make a change. And it's important to think about like, how are they going to go about doing that? Danny decided to email their success coach. They know that their success coach is always there to support them. They know that, it's a judgment-free space, right? We all have, if you've been in our office, right? Like this is, the whole point is that it's judgment-free. You come in and you get, the support that you need every single time, no matter what. And if it means making a plan to figure things out, then that's what we do. We make a plan and we figure it out. And that's a really big deal. So Danny could have also gone to, their professor who might have been really concerned and wanted to support them. Danny could have gone to their group of friends in each of their, in their organizations, or if they have, one or two really close friends that they'd like to involve. They could have gone to any of these people. This person in particular, Danny decided that they wanted to go to see their success coach. Totally fine. They could have even talked to their parents if they felt comfortable. But they decided they wanted to send out an email to see, what can I do, right? And of course, the first thing that their coach said was, be for real. What are you doing? What is happening? What's going on? This is so much, right? Like they had a long list, right? They've got so much on their plate, and how are they managing all of it? Like, what are they realistically doing to manage their time, to manage their priorities? Like, what does that really look like? And again, I want to take a moment here to pause and ask you all to consider, again, you have so many things that are going on in your life. What are you realistically doing to manage your time? What are you realistically doing to figure out like what's important to you, right? Is it important for you to make sure that your academics are all in line, that you're getting really good grades, you're passing your exams, etc.? Or is it really important for you to make sure that your social things are good? And obviously, academics got to take number one spot here because that's what we're here for. But I want you to think about that, right? Like think about, how important are all of your activities and how important is your academics, and can you really keep it all up? And, if you let one thing go, if you leave one thing and take it off your plate, what's going to happen to the rest, right? Like it's like, think about that for a moment, right? So, and I want to clarify here also, nothing happens if you just decide, all right, I'm going to take one of these balls, I'm going to leave it over there. And I'm going to keep the rest. Like nothing happens. It's okay if you decide, you want to step away from something for a moment or what have you. But let's see what happens with Danny. they hadn't really thought about how all of the things that they were doing contributed to them feeling so overwhelmed, right? Danny hadn't been realistic. They hadn't been, they hadn't been managing their time properly. And it's important that, we kind of think about like, this is their moment, right? Like, this is their moment to be for real and like really consider, like, am I doing too much? Am I, could I be doing, less? Could I be doing more of one thing or not the other? And think about those things. Again, like I said earlier, these are the things to consider as you're thinking about, what's going on with activities, what's going on with your coursework, what's going on with, anything else that you're involved in, any of the other things outside of the school sphere that you might be thinking about. Are you being realistic, right? Is it realistic for you to be in every single club on campus that you can think of? Is it realistic for you to be taking, a full credit course load and, going to all these meetings and meeting up with your friends all the time and hanging out and what have you? Does that really, like, think about it for a second? What conclusion did we come to? Think about it again as we keep going. Consider, how is this going to look? And how is it going to work for you, right? Keep in mind that the most important thing is that this all works for you. And understand that, some people might really love and enjoy and appreciate having a super duper busy schedule and that keeps them together, but that might not be the best thing for you. Because then, again, grades start slipping, people start noticing, hey, like they're not doing what they need to be doing, they're not at these meetings, what have you. And that's a lot. And that can make you feel, right? Like that can make you feel like you're not doing enough. It can make you feel a certain type of way. So let's talk about this for a second. Managing your time is incredibly important. You're able to balance things a little bit better, right? You're able to feel a little less stressed out because now you've got time for the things that matter, right? The things that, the things that are important to you and the things that are important for you. That might be a much longer conversation, but consider that, things that are important to you might be some of those activities. So it might not be every single one of them, but, some of those activities are really, really important. It could also be that, academics is really important for, your goals, your future, and like things that you want to do in life. That's going to be a really huge deal. So I want you to consider that, all of these things take, they're important they're important to you because these are the goals that you've chosen to pursue in life. The things that are also important for you, things like being able to take care of yourself and, kind of really take care of your own needs, right? Like that's also important too. And it's important to make time for that as well. I want you to consider that, within all of these activities, all these classes, all the things that you might have to do, it's important to stop and take a moment, make sure that you're eating well, drinking tons of water, and also just getting to sleep, right? Like sometimes just being able to rest, take a nap. Some of those like small things make a big difference in how we, go on throughout our day. And it's really important that you take that in mind and make time for those things. So always keep in mind that, managing the things that are important to you and important for you is always going to help you balance things out a little bit better. Keep also being realistic with what you can and cannot commit to. Like I said earlier, you don't have to be involved in every single thing that you are interested in, right? Like sometimes it's okay to just, if you're even lightly in like, if you even lightly like something, it's okay to just, kind of sort of be involved, but you don't have to be, at every single meeting, at every single thing. It's important to also think about, if you maybe have a particular goal in mind and you feel like involving yourself in something is going to get you closer to that goal, maybe that is the thing that you want to dedicate a little bit more time to. And again, going back to the, things that are important to you versus things that are important for you. That might be something to just think about as you're considering, activities and, coursework and things that you want to do. And then I also want to go back to an earlier point, but it's okay to drop things and pick them up later, right? So like maybe for right now, Danny, they really want to be in an organization or they really want to even start one, but maybe right now, this is not the time to do that. So maybe they might leave that off for a semester, focus on their grades, focus on a couple of different things. And then later on, they can come back and pick it up another time. That's going to be perfectly fine because that organization, their idea is always going to be there. They're always going to be the person that might be able to, make it happen. And then again, I want to just kind of emphasize that, you're going to be able to make greater progress towards those larger goals just by accomplishing little things along the way, right? So again, even if it's, it's a really huge goal and it's a really big thing that you want to do in the future, think about all the little things, all the little steps that you might want to do along the way, right? And you'll get there if you kind of just pick at it little by little. Because in the end, like those are all those small accomplishments, they really do make a difference. So working with their success coach, Danny made sort of a mock-up schedule to make sure that they're keeping track of the things that they really care about. They're trying to be really good with organizing their time. They're trying to be good about, managing their academics first, right? So first things first, we got to make sure that academics are in order. We have to make sure that, the things that, that we care about that are important to us are being taken care of. And that's exactly what Danny has chosen to do. They really care about, science. So maybe they also decided that they wanted to, stick with one of their organizations. I believe they were in the Chimean Society. So of course they wanted to kind of make sure that those two things were still in line. So they're doing both things, which is really fun. And then once they felt more comfortable after a little bit of time, they started to add back some of the things that they were really excited about, right? Some of those things that they felt passionately about, they filled up their schedule a little bit more while still making sure that it was, something that could be easily maintained. And still making sure that they've got, some time for rest, time for homework, time to catch up with people. And really, again, like doing the things that they just really enjoy, right? And I want us to think about, again, like if we've had that moment of, maybe we dropped something or maybe we refocused our energy a little bit in a different direction, like, did you end up with a really good result? Did you end up, feeling a little bit better, a little bit lighter, a little less pressure to do some things? Along the way, Danny did have to make some adjustments to make sure that they can involve and include some other things as well. And you know what, like this has been working out for them super well, right? They have been able to be involved in the things that they want to be involved in. They've also been able to be doing the things that they need to be doing so that they can make progress towards those larger goals. And again, this is another thing that I want people to think about is, consider that it's possible to have the things that you want, but it's important to also be reasonable with the things that you can do. It's important to be realistic, right? Be for real. Can you really do all of the things that are on your schedule? Can you really do all the things that you want to do? And, in the long run, is this going to make it easier for you to get to those goals or those bigger dreams that you have? Is it going to be better? Is it going to be worse? I want us to think about that very realistically. Here we can see Danny having the time of their life. They are involved in everything that they want to be involved in. They're doing all the things that they want to be doing, and they're they're building up that progress to, meeting those goals that they feel so passionately about. So I want to kind of close this out and allow us to think about a couple of different things here. What are the different things that are currently occupying your time? So what's really keeping you busy? And I want you to think about, school things. I want you to think about activities that you might be involved in, clubs, whatever it might be, and any other obligations or any other things that you might have outside of it. So it could be work, it could be things at home, it could be, any of that stuff. Do you feel like you're sacrificing something to take part in something else? I just noticed my typo. It's okay though. We're not perfect. Do you feel like you're sacrificing something to take part in something else? And how can you make a change, right? Like think about like, if you feel like you have to sacrifice something, like how can you make a change to that? Again, like think about the things that you want to do versus the things that you need to do, right? Things that are important to you versus important for you. What are the things that you can change so that you can kind of make some readjustments and get to both results or both goals that you'd like to meet, right? Think about that for a moment. And then I also want you to think about who in your circle can support you in making these changes and what will their role be. For Danny, we saw that they really leaned on their success coach, but this could have been anyone, right? This could have been anyone in their life that they felt could, have a positive, make a positive change and support them in moving forward and kind of hold them accountable and, again, be a good motivator for them. So this could have been any of their friends, it could have been family, it could have been professors. So I want you to think about that as well, right? Like, who in your circle can you turn to, and how can they really support you? And how's that going to work out? Will they be motivating you? Will they be holding you accountable, keeping you on track? Think about what they really can do to support you. I think that's all our time today. Thank you all again for joining. I really appreciate it. And again, please feel free to reach out. I am so excited to see what you all do, how you all reprioritize, reorganize your time, and get everything that you want out of your goals. Bye.